I'll do a joke of like, I'm the ghost. That's the whole movie, guys.
Welcome to Uncivilized. Frick. Welcome to Cinema Uncivilized, where we, Josh, Drayton, and Daniel, talk about your favorite movies. I think I butchered that, but
Dude, honestly, I would just be like, hey, welcome back to Cinema Uncivilized. I'm your host, Drayton, here with Joshua and Daniel. Today, we're going to be talking about, a ghost story.
sweet. Yeah, I'll run with that with that intro.
Let's go
All
with
right,
that.
sweet. So we're gonna be talking about a ghost story by David Lowery. I think that's how you pronounce it. And anyways, interesting film. It's kind of about this woman or this relationship, husband and wife. The husband ends up dying in a car crash, and he's kind of bound to this home where he essentially watches his wife, and following years pass by, kind of unable to interact. And it's kind of a story about the circularity of life, transience of life, and I don't know, it's got some deep themes that we're gonna dive into. So have you guys, since watching it, have you listened to that Dark Rooms, I forget what it's called, I Am Overstimulated or something? That song that was played constantly throughout the film?
No, I haven't.
Wasn't that good, eh? Dude, I've been listening to that on repeat, to be honest.
Is that the one that she was listening to with the headphones that he was
Yeah.
That was good. That was good, honestly. I really like that. I watched with subtitles, right? So I was reading the lyrics as well, and it was really, it was an awesome song. I didn't know that it was a real song that I could listen to.
Yeah, no, it is powerful.
Yeah, I do like the song. I was thinking that. I'm like, this is like some serious alternative stuff going on. But this guy just lives in his home. I'm assuming this was made for no one. I don't know. I don't know how successful of a musician he was, but it was pretty decent. Yeah.
Just living in this like rotting house, just gonna fall apart here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know. They were renting it, right? So I wonder how much for rent it was, but that would make sense because I'm assuming he doesn't have that much of an income.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to rent for pretty cheap.
Hey, we don't know that.
We'll just say. But yeah, go ahead, Drayden. Sorry.
So, kind of considering the themes of this film, did it kind of make you guys think differently about the afterlife, or what these spirits could, like, what their messaging could mean? More about these ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it definitely made me think about. It kind of made me have a different perspective on ghosts or spirits that haunt a house. They're not always so bad. Maybe they're just frustrated, and they just want to be seen and acknowledged and loved. And you know what? I got that when he was like, he went through the cupboards and he was like smashing the glasses with that Mexican family. I was like, aw. But yeah, it definitely made me think about life and just how precious this life is. I really like this movie. It made me think a lot about that kind of stuff, and just, wow, you know what? I just had a kind of a realization just thinking about this. So one thing that I noticed was the transitioning from time. Like if you weren't paying attention, you could miss like a season pass or years pass within an instant, within a snap. And it just made me realize with kind of how precious life is, if you could, like, life will pass you by without even realizing it. That's how quick time moves. And so take advantage and be grateful for everything that's in this life, because you don't know what you got until it's gone. And within a blink of an eye, it could be taken away from you. And it's a good, that's a really good sort of metaphor, like just with how fast the transitioning was with time. I really like that.
Yeah. So the movie very much touched Josh's heart, I can see. I enjoyed the movie. I think I like the thesis more than what I'm actually seeing, if that makes sense. So right. We can get into, I guess, technical aspects of like what stops me from giving this like a 5-star. But in terms of your question, yeah, I mean, it gives a lot to think about. I did wonder as throughout the movie, why is he stuck at the house? And I guess upon like listening to different theories and reviews, this it's part of him like not being able to let go of that, that life he had, and that's what we see with the ghost he sees across the street or just across whatever. That ghost has also stayed, and he asks like, "Well, who are you waiting for?" And he's like, "I don't even remember anymore at this point." So I thought that was actually that's probably the more impactful part of the movie, in my opinion, with the other ghost. But yeah, I think they displayed that like part of their conflict was that he didn't want to move or he didn't want to like go anywhere, and so that just stayed true to his life as a ghost as well. He stayed in that same spot because that's where his I guess good memories are of his life after he'd passed, and he stayed there up until he jumped off the roof, I guess. I mean, he's always a ghost, but he jumped off the roof, which a ghost committed suicide is pretty crazy, I guess.
You know what was going through my mind when that scene was happening? I was like, because from there it just goes to the ghost being in like, horse and buggy times, right? And I'm thinking like, whoa, like what happened here? I'm like trying to like understand like what happened. Like, did he go back? My thought was, did he do like a Men in Black thing and like travel back in time by jumping off a building? But then while I continued to watch, I realized that it was the previous ghost's life, of course. But,
Dude, I feel like they got it exact shot for shot of the Dark Knight freaking Batman jumping off the building kind of scene.
I was just surprised. I'm like, what is this gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we knew them a bit more. I think there could have been. I know maybe the point is that we don't really need to know who they are because the story is supposed to just be applied to anyone, really. But I think it could have maybe added an extra punch, just knowing a bit more about their past, if that makes sense, or just like where does he come from and how did he get here? And also may I just say, the car crash happened in the most ridiculous of places. Like, it seems like there's no one on that road. You're telling me there's like a car crash that bad?
So true. Right in front of his driveway.
Right in front of his driveway? On like a secluded area?
Yeah, I was trying to piece together like how that crash happened because it looked like he was like, it must have been a head-on collision with another vehicle, like a drunk driver or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd have to imagine because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is a ridiculous crash. How are you crashing in broad daylight?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, kind of going off of that, while I was watching this film, I was like, I don't know, I was reminded of how far we've come as movie watchers to kind of accept some of this like expression. Because like usually in a ghost film, you would kind of have to explore this idea of like, oh, they walked through me and they felt this coldness. But like the whole film, the actor's like walking around the ghost. The ghost is there. Like it doesn't follow all these same tropes that a normal ghost film would follow. And so I just think it's interesting that we are advancing as film watchers. Like we don't necessarily have to have that moment where they walk through the ghost to recognize that there is a ghost. Like it's more so in the expression of, and I think that's kind of where that crash comes in. It's like really stupid in the location, but it's just like it's there to say something instead of, I don't know, prove a point, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I thought about, I'm like, is Casey Affleck under there or he just filmed his scenes?
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, is he really credited as this ghost or is it someone else?
He did do most of it, I believe. There are some reshoots or something like that where they did get someone else who had like a similar build. But apparently it is him like acting. Not to say quote unquote acting, but the whole point is you can't really see the expression. And I listened and the director talked about them having to fix it a little bit, like, because he did just kind of look like he had a bed sheet over himself. And so it was hard for people to really picture it as like a ghost rather than just a human with a bed sheet over their head. So the design of it is so that like we really don't see much expression whatsoever. We have to just clue in from just where the ghost is looking. Besides, of course, the angry expression, which I thought, like, why are you torturing this poor Mexican family? They got nothing. You see the single mom? She's on food stamps, bro.
So true.
She's trying to raise her kids.
I think like as an actor though, if Casey Affleck didn't want to do that part, I would almost call him like a con man. Like I wouldn't watch any of his movies because I feel like to make those scenes with his wife just that more impactful, as an actor, you got to take that extra step, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think for sure he was committed to it. It seems like the director is friends with like Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara as to why they were cast, and he told Casey Affleck that, I'm doing this movie and you're going to be a ghost. And Casey's like, well, I don't know what this means, but okay. Like, just sort of go along with it. And Casey Affleck was, I believe this released after he had won his Oscar for Manchester by the Sea. So he was coming off, the high, and, and sometimes you think best actors are going to really lean into more explorative projects. But honestly, Casey Affleck, if anything, has kind of really taken a back seat. Doesn't feel like doing much more.
I thought Casey Affleck did well in this. One question I wanted to ask you guys was, how did you feel about the editing in this movie?
You're talking about the fact that we watch her eat a pie for... Yeah. You know what's funny is that the director said it's 8 minutes, that scene. I didn't know that. I mean, it felt long, but I thought it was like 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
I believe that.
It was. I realized I was like, wow, this is one continuous shot of her eating that pie. I was like, this girl must have actually legitimately, like, they told her, like, come to this scene hungry. Like, you're gonna be eating an entire pie. Was that like a dessert pie or more so like a meat pie?
It was hard to tell. Yeah.
So like, other than that scene though, like, I know the editing was pretty much the same throughout the film, but like, what did you think about it? Because I know it's very different from any other film that's usually edited like that.
Yeah. I would say the director wanted us to feel uncomfortable. That's how he put it. Or just force us to have a feeling about it, about what we're seeing, which is sort of like, I think juxtaposition might be the right word here. A bit of an irony about it is that we're watching a very normal thing, but it's almost hard for us to watch. Like, we need it to move in that specific scene. And so it's a bit of like an experiment almost as to why he did it that way. I feel like we didn't need it to be that long, that specific shot, but yeah, I mean, he wanted to do something interesting, which I'll give credit for. But yeah, probably for me, not that it needs to be edited so much quicker, but I just think that I felt some more impact upon scenes that maybe didn't last as long. Like, one of the scenes where I truly felt like, ooh, that stings, was when he was watching his wife, kind of become acquainted with a gentleman that enters the home that he used to live in, the home that used to be theirs.
Yeah.
That pains me.
For sure. Yeah. I was like, ooh, this is getting good. This is getting spicy.
And then just, like, she moves and that's it. And so then you get this Mexican, and I thought for a second that the rest of the movie would deal with him being like the ghost of this family, but that also didn't last. And the point of the movie is that you see him pass through the time and everything is so temporary. But yeah, I think the editing, though interesting and definitely something I think the director is proud of. Me personally, I would have preferred maybe just a little bit more pace to it, but I know a lot of people like this movie, so I'm sure they appreciate it.
I really liked the editing, to be honest. Like, I really enjoyed those long scenes, and I think it's because those long scenes are what I remember from the film, to be honest. Like, when I think back on it, I only watched it 2 days ago, but those are the scenes that I think of. And I did like how it made us feel very uncomfortable. But even in that one scene when, like, Casey Affleck and what's the girl's name? Mary Rooney? Yeah, Mary Rooney.
Yeah, it's Rooney Mara.
Okay, Rooney Mara are lying in bed together. That felt like the longest scene to me, but it was almost like a comforting scene. And kind of based on the rest of the context of the film, I appreciated the length of those scenes.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Jaden. I enjoyed the editing for this, which is usually uncommon. Like I have a short attention span, so usually kind of like a more snappy, quick pace editing is a little more engaging for me. But I think just the style of this movie, it worked well. Because yeah, like you said, it makes you feel uncomfortable. And yes, that pie eating scene, I remember specifically watching it and then realizing I at the time I thought, oh, this is like halfway through the scene. Little did I know it continued for another like 5 or 6 minutes. But did you notice the ghost in the background while she was eating that pie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you're
hard
saying-
not to, right? But for like the first 45 seconds, I didn't notice. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's a ghost there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just watching her, and he
Yeah.
doesn't move either. That's so. I guess for me, like my issue with the shot is more so, like I've just become a bit bored of it after a while. Like I get the point. She's distressed, and this is maybe luckily I haven't had to grieve a partner, um, and especially at that age, I'm sure she's probably just in her 30s, like. That could be a hard thing, and they're probably just snacking away, like eating away their feelings of morbid grief and stuff like that. But I mean, I kind of think we get the point by around the halfway mark of what he's trying to do. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, but I also like how much pressure it puts on the actors to give a solid performance, because it almost turns into like a theater acting session where
That's true.
all the pressure is on them and they have to do it perfectly or else it won't work.
I was thinking that exact same thing too, Drade. Like 4 or 5 minutes into this, specifically when you can tell she's getting a little bit more irritated and emotional and she's eating a little bit more aggressively, I was thinking about that. Like, how many times has this girl rehearsed this? Like, to eat this pie and to continue to progressively get a little bit more intense and emotional. I wonder how many takes did they do? I don't know if that's something Daniel. Was it a perfect one take? Or?
I do not know.
Yeah.
But as you said, I can only imagine how torturous it must be to eat whatever she was eating for however long they had takes for. I mean, imagine they did even longer takes.
Well, maybe that could have been like her fourth or fifth take, and so her throwing up was legitimately her throwing up 4 pies.
Yes, and understandably so, because eating that much, let's say it's a pumpkin pie, you know what I mean? How would you feel eating almost a whole pumpkin pie?
I mean, it's so good, but like horrible, like so many calories.
Dude, I do that at least once a night.
Yeah.
I'm an apple pie kind of guy. So like pumpkin pie.
One thing I really appreciated from this movie is it kind of gave you that perspective of, if I die, like, how are my loved ones going to mourn or how are they going to feel? And so like seeing that ghost being there in that same room, it kind of gives you that idea of maybe what things might look like in that situation. Not necessarily that that's something that I'm thinking about, but it's just a different perspective, I guess, that you don't really think about, which I thought was cool.
For sure. I mean, it's something that's just a part of life, and we can even talk, I guess, about the gentleman and his monologue that he had in that one party scene, because that's sort of like the big exclamation point on what we're kind of talking about or dealing with in the movie. But he brings up the point of legacy and sort of how we're sort of built into wanting to leave behind something more. We all want to be someone to remember, if that makes sense, right? And so, seeing how people react to us passing away, I suppose, is something that some people think about, where Like they want, how would they feel hurt as a ghost seeing that not that many people show up to their funeral? Or are you happy with those that you have in your life? I think one main thing that hurts, I'm sure, and a lot of people probably pass away with unresolved conflicts. Him and Rooney Mara clearly had like issues, and he was very avoidant. He was the one not working towards resolution in terms of their disputes. Like she was the one that would bring it up to him, and he'd be like, "Let's not do this right now." And I always find that interesting because I see that so much in like TV and movies where someone is going just like, I don't want to talk about it right now. And it's like, so you'd rather sit with like anger and just disappointment or whatever feeling. Like I'm one that definitely tries to get rid of my negative feelings as quickly as possible, whether that be needing to talk with someone right away. Like if I feel bad, I feel bad, and I'll like talk to someone about it and like apologize pretty quickly. Like it doesn't take a long time for me to feel like I need to sit with this. So I think, yeah, he showed a lot of remorse for how his life had been carried out with her. But yeah, the reality is in the end, like she just moves on, and that's just how it is. I suppose people move on with us, whether we leave behind a great legacy or not.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring up that fight, because by the end, I think the film was I'm not sure if the film was attempting to portray a healthy relationship. By the end, I wasn't sure if their relationship was healthy or not. Because I don't know, I kind of gathered this central theme of misunderstanding and there was like one-sided communication. The ghost was unable to communicate verbally. Casey Affleck, he had his headphones on in the first scene, and she was talking to him, and he wouldn't take them off. There's like that muffled voice of hers. And then even the very first, there's like this, maybe a segment of a poem. It says, every time you woke, a door was shutting. And that in itself almost seems like an expression of one-sided communication. I don't know. Did you guys get that? Did you feel as though it was a healthy relationship that they were attempting to portray, or did you kind of get where I was feeling a little about an unhealthy relationship?
Yeah, I would agree with you, Dre, that definitely not the healthiest of relationships. Definitely a one-sided thing. Referring to that, I don't know if it was the same argument they had, but it was a scene where she was like confronting him and being like, "Why am I the only one like trying to communicate?" kind of thing. That is a cool. That's a really cool connection you made with the quote that was said at the beginning of the film. This whole time, I'm like, I was thinking about it, but I wasn't. I was thinking of it more of in a literal sense, like because you know how they wake up to like a noise being made, the piano or whatever, a door being closed, and that's the ghost kind of rustling around and making some noise. But it's it's a perfect. It makes perfect sense that that's more of a one-sided communication.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly say, just like a bold statement here, a lot of relationships just really aren't all that great, and like people truly spend their years with someone they just feel comfortable with, rather than, I mean, it's important to feel comfortable, of course, but someone that really like either pushes you or just like encourages you, and you truly enjoy yourself, and there's not a lot of bickering, because they didn't, I mean, mind you, they didn't even have kids, right? Like I'm assuming they might have been married, maybe not, but like, it's in a relationship, if they're not married, that maybe Rooney Mara, if she feels so disrespected, she could probably get out of, but clearly she sticks around with him, and probably they've been together for some time, and so you're willing to look past sort of his deficiencies, his lack of care. And I think that's the point. He definitely had like not given her all the time in the world, it seems. And that's how a lot of musicians that like work from home seem to be as well. Their art is their passion rather than their relationship, and just enjoying themselves in that relationship. So I'm sure, he's showing a lot of regret for the life he was kind of living. I mean, he wasn't a terrible person, it seems, but just not a great boyfriend or husband.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I think it was like the night before my wedding. I had my uncle invited me over to his house, and he wanted to like give me a little speech kind of thing. And he told me, he's like, more than half of your marriage is not going to be fun. And I was like, that's not like something you want to hear the day before you get married, but that hasn't been my experience yet, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say the kids like is what drives a wedge into a relationship. I mean, your focus becomes different. I mean, both wife and husband are working towards just sort of raising a child rather than building your relationship. So at least I can take from what I've learned from the past generation of, because since we're the new married generation, let's say, like past generations, you know, a lot of conflict comes from not creating the time to spend with your partner, right? Like, it's important to keep the relationship feeling a little bit special. Otherwise, yeah, you just become two people that do chores and work together, but
Roommates.
it's not a loving relationship, right? So don't stop dating your spouse is sort of the lesson I've gathered. But I find that funny. Yeah, there's always like someone trying to give like a big speech about something, and it's like you know, that's maybe their experience. And I've heard plenty, but I've also seen a lot of couples that are very happy together. I mean, mind you, in the ward I'm in, a lot of elderly couples, and they seem thick as thieves and enjoying themselves. So I think it can go either way, but general lesson is make sure to try and still make her feel special no matter what the circumstances, and things should go pretty well. Unless, of course, she just changes her mind and just doesn't want to be with you anymore and just divorces you. But yeah, other than that.
True.
You know what's interesting is that guy that gave that monologue, I'm trying to remember actually what you said. Oh yeah, you just talking about like how, you know, we all want to be remembered by something, but also in the same breath, he was kind of like a cynic. You know, he was talking about how none of it all even matters, you know, like the world's going to end and none of this is going to matter. We're going to be sent back to the Stone Age. We're going to have to like revert back to hunters and gatherers kind of thing. And so, you know, what is the point of life? You know, why are we here?
We're gonna get all religious here. Yeah, like, you know, and maybe this is the interesting part. Let's try to remove our religious perspective. How would someone who doesn't have that feel about their life? You know, I think a lot of people are very career oriented. They find a lot of purpose in what they do for a living. They view money as something that's super important, and those are the things where he's talking about, right? Like, we work towards like levels of prestige, you know, like our goals are based around, a lot of people talk about wanting to have a lot more money, and I mean the truth is that certainly in this Canadian economic climate, we definitely need to strive to do that or make as much money as possible, because frankly your dollar doesn't get us far enough. we're not gonna live as glamorous as we'd like to, but yeah, like we work towards just having these like levels of I did this, and so that lives on forever. Like, oh, you know, your uncle, the rich one, you know what I mean? Or like what you're talking about with like Sarah and her like buffet, right? Like those family members, their legacy is that, like, that's something they're remembered by. And I mean, if you're sort of on the bottom end of that totem pole, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, he never really got his act together, or just stuff like that, you know, aren't really related to the as a person. I mean, there's certainly factors or different personality traits you can take from someone maybe not quote unquote succeeding in terms of like how we view success here in Canada, but you know, that doesn't really change who they are, or like there's a lot more you can take from someone just besides what they've accomplished. But I guess anyways, I'm fitting in that like a lot of people find purpose via accomplishing, and I think, you know, we do the same thing even with our religious perspective, but we do have a bit more substance, I guess, or some belief in achieving an end goal. While I think it's easy to think, well, my money, I can make as much money as I want, but it's not coming with me when I die, right? but you're leaving a legacy for your family if you so leave it in your will that your dependents will receive so and so funds. I guess.
Did you guys see? I guess Drayden hasn't, but did you see my letterbox comment on this movie yet, Daniel?
I actually
No,
saw
I didn't.
that.
Oh, you did see it, Jay?
Yeah.
So I'm not even kidding you. I was watching this, and yeah, like after pretty much the hospital scene where he becomes a ghost, I like yell out to Sarah. I was like, "Hey, like, did I ever talk to you about my life insurance policy?" This movie reminded me to talk to her about it because I was talking to my insurance guy, and he was like, "Hey, like, you ever do life insurance? I could do $1 million life insurance policy for like $40 a month or something." And so, yeah, I talked to her about it. She's like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm not the right person to ask about this. I don't know anything about this." But it was just funny that that's what this movie prompted me to talk to my wife about.
Absolutely. It is important because that's sort of the gamble, right? I think a lot of people live well into their elderly age. And so you paid a lot of money for, I don't even know, like, what do you get back after you pay off your life insurance policy? Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what if I was to pass away at the age of 30 by some freak accident? So it's just sort of something you get along with in life. I do have my own life insurance outside of work, but my work also has a life insurance plan. So I guess if I still work for them whenever I pass away, they're double the double the policy, I suppose.
And something that really intrigued me about this film, kind of going off like what you're talking about, kind of almost needing to like progress your family forward, because that's kind of what life insurance is. And what you were saying, Daniel, how like a lot of people find fulfillment in accomplishing. I liked how it showed almost the restart of civilization in this film, because that almost questions that very question of whether accomplishing things and like if progress is really even a thing. Do we progress, or is it just like a continual cycle that we experience? But I have an atheist professor that I've had a couple conversations with, and anyways, he's a pretty big alcoholic now because he's like getting to the age of 60 where he thinks he's just gonna die and become a, grow into the ground kind of thing, be decomposed. So he's getting a little scared. But he said there's like two types of atheists. There's those who are very cynical, and then there are those who almost like they find the comedy in everything. They see how strange everything is, how complex, and how nothing really makes sense. And he said that the one thing that actually brings him comfort is art, which I find interesting because I think that we can all relate to that here in this group. Art, it's like truth.
Yeah, 100%. We find fulfillment as the three of us, I think, in doing this because we appreciate what the movies can give to us in terms of our perspective. And I'll say something funny is that I was watching a review of this movie and they showed a clip of Synecdoche, New York. And I'm like, it just so happens that we're touching on these themes. Like, but I mean, we've enjoyed these movies. So, doesn't have, sometimes a lot of people don't like these types of movies because they just view movies as they want an escape from reality rather than these types of movies that ask the big questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, we find enjoyment and fulfillment in being able to watch stuff that asks questions of us and maybe see how that changes our perspective as we grow older. I think all three of us look at how can we change or stuff like, we ask those questions. And so we enjoy it. I don't know. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here with my parents in the Dominican Republic, and I was like, okay, we got to watch like a really, really good movie. Like I want to show them just like something that will change their view on movies essentially. And I showed them Before Sunrise because I thought it was kind of like one of those films that's just, It's got that romance to it. It asks some good questions. It's just like unique in a certain way, but they both hated it, man. like
What?
I wonder if you like get to a certain age where you just like stop wanting to ask those questions that these films ask.
I mean, what do they hate about it? That it was kind of slower, or
Well,
it kind, it can feel a bit tasking to watch it if you're assuming it's going to be just very good romantic story, which it kind of is, but it shows more of a realistic, I would say, type of life or night experience.
yeah.
You know, that's the whole point of their like acting performance, and I think that's why I actually think Before Sunset is even better. I gave that one a 5-star rating, and it's a 75-minute movie. It's not a long movie at all,
Yeah.
but just like every single line they deliver packs so much of a punch. So I think Before Sunrise is a good movie, pretty excellent and iconic. But I can see why maybe older people don't. We're just gonna be like bored of it, or like not that. It's not all that interesting.
Well, my dad, he walked out 30 minutes in. He's like, I can't handle this anymore. And we talked the next day. And he was like, oh, Dre, like I could write a movie way better than that. And my mom, she was like, was that the whole point of the movie? Like they just walk around and talk? And I was like, Mom, you know what the difference between like good movies and great movies are? Is a good movie will explore like maybe one idea, but a great idea will explore like 50. And I think Before Sunrise is one of those films that explores so many different ideas just through dialogue. But yeah, they hated how slow it was and how there wasn't the 3-act structure where there's this huge climax kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it just kind of plays out, and like I said, it's tasking a little bit. It's asking a lot of its audience to try and stay engaged. But if you find, that's why I even talk about Love Island and stuff like that. I find a lot of enjoyment in almost studying people, and I think that's definitely one of those movies where we're just learning just as much about these two characters as they are about each other. And so you're trying to think, is Ethan Hawke pretty slimy? That's what I was thinking. I'm like, he's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So like, I hope does she see through that? Like, what are they thinking as they're talking to each other? Because, and then I guess another Marvel thing or marvelous thing I think about with the movie is just how life used to be almost, where you see pretty girl in a location, you ask her out. You know what I mean? Because when's the next chance going to be? Unless you happen to be running into her again and again. Like our parents essentially asked each other out with like bravery, while
Sure.
I did meet my wife in person, so I guess I did it pretty naturally, but it almost seems hard to do nowadays. Most people will meet via online or just like do most of their chatting online, while Ethan Hawke does all of that with Claire Dunphy in this movie.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Did you have to skip ahead, Dre? One of the scenes?
Dude, I don't even think like it didn't show anything, man. Like they had sex and then I think it cut to the next day.
It
But
cuts to them like rolling around afterwards, I think, but it does black out before it like there's any sort of illegal things to watch. I
Yeah.
guess.
No, both my parents
Illegal.
both my parents had left at that point.
Well, did your wife like it?
Oh yeah, she really likes that film. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you guys. Something that I've been wondering. What is your thoughts on the shimmer that they see? Like Casey Affleck's character sees it. I think the girl sees it, Rooney. And then at the very end of the film, the shimmer's there on the wall.
Frankly, yeah. I watched some interviews, but they never brought that up, and I'm thinking about it now. I guess I always thought there's some, not magic, but just a force in the universe. Or, I mean, what scenes did it show up? Maybe that'll help answer it. Like, what specific times?
The first time was literally like in the bedroom at night. Casey
Yeah.
Affleck saw it up on the wall. But then the second time, the girl saw it kind of in the living room on the wall, and it, she heard some chimes kind of going outside, and I
Hmm.
thought maybe it was like maybe chimes and sun kind of reflecting into it. I don't quite remember the last scene of when it happened, but yeah, I think maybe it could be some sort of happy spirit, loved one, maybe trying to communicate with her in a way.
Yeah. No, I like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jude. I don't have too much to say on it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like. I'm almost curious if it kind of correlate or connects with that one dude's speech, because he was saying that stuff only matters if it's everlasting. And I guess light, like that's kind of like a reflection of light. That could be something that's everlasting. Like light will never cease to exist. And I almost felt as though maybe it was saying that like it's the same thing as love. Like it's intangible. Everything that's tangible will maybe cease to exist, but like love remains. That's so cheesy, but maybe that's like part of it. But yeah, there were a lot of things in this film that like I didn't understand. Like I was really curious to know what it said on the note at the very end of the film, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys thought maybe it could have said. And then there was also that scene at the very beginning where the ghost just sees like this door of light that just opens up to like this rainbow land, and I was like so confused. Still am confused, but
Is it signs of the afterlife? Especially like the ghost seeing this shimmery world with the rainbows, as you mentioned? Like, because it seems that the ghosts have a choice to like be in the in the world still, because that ghost just, once she realizes that like, oh well, the houses are destroyed, these people are never coming back, they just, that ghost that Casey Affleck gets to know like just disappears, and that's it. So a movie I thought about actually was Presence, which I'm not sure if both of you watched it, but it like has a similar theme of a ghost that has a bit of a mission, or at least has a purpose to being where they are. And so once that is done, they kind of are lifted off, and they no longer need to be where they are. But anyway, I guess that's detracting from the shimmery thing, but just a thought I had. Just a thought I had.
I got a question. What did you guys think happened when the ghost suddenly falls flat in the sheet on the ground? Because the neighboring ghost did that when the house got destroyed, and she's like, oh, like still waiting, nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden she disappeared. But Casey Affleck's ghost dropped to the floor when he finally was able to read that note that he was digging out of the wall.
I almost wonder if it's because like that other ghost didn't know who they were waiting for. So I almost wonder if it's kind of like they take it as a sign that their loved one or the person that they're holding on to doesn't want to be held anymore. Because the girl, Rooney, the girl, she, at the very beginning of the movie, she was like, I can't leave this house. And it was almost like signaling that this house was almost as important as, or it housed all of their memories. And Casey Affleck also kind of went into that. And as soon as that ghost like picked at the door and found that note, I'm almost wondering if it said like, I'm leaving you, like you can go now kind of thing. Like you don't need to be here anymore. I don't know. And then that's when the ghost disappeared. So I wonder if it was almost like he had been holding on to her, but he was given the sign that he doesn't need to anymore.
Yeah, I think it connects with sort of what I was touching on just recently about they seem to have a purpose to be on the earth, because other than that, they could just disappear and go wherever they end up going. As you mentioned, I think once their purpose feels fulfilled, or they understand that this person's not coming back, right? And, as much as Casey Affleck would like to, I guess, watch Rooney Mara for the rest of his life, she left, and so I was actually surprised. I mean, I thought maybe the rule of this ghost world is that he could travel with her, but no, he was pretty much just confided to that house, and so it's like, what is your purpose at that point? And I think he had the hope that she would come back, but again, years and years and years pass, and I'm sure the ghosts lost track of time. They lost track of who they were even waiting for. So yeah, once they feel that they have no longer any purpose to be there, they'll disappear.
Yeah, I makes sense. I guess, yeah. I haven't, like, that makes sense what both of you guys said. Yeah, I was truly kind of just like wondering why they did that, or what it could have been, what was in that note. So it's nice to hear kind of your insights on what you thought that note says, Dre. But yeah.
To finish off, should we maybe just state what scene hit us the hardest?
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you guys have some other things you want to talk about.
No, I think that's good.
Sweet. I can start off. I think the most powerful scene for me, I almost started tearing up, to be honest, is when Rooney, she's like listening to the song that her husband had made, and she's lying on the floor, and she starts like reaching up and like almost touches his ghost. I thought that was a really powerful scene, and it just kind of made me feel as though, like, I don't know, the people that we love, people that we lose, they're like closer than you think they are, and I think that kind of plays into that idea of like the Day of the Dead that the Hispanic, or a lot of Hispanic people practice. Like, if you remember them, they'll stay close to you, essentially. And in that scene, that's what she was doing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a bit unrelated. I just put something together that, if you remember, he like knocked some books over in frustration, and Rooney Mara the next day or next morning, she sees the books there. Is that why she decides to leave? Like, she knows he's the ghost, and it's time for him to let go. And I'm just thinking about that.
Well, one of the things that she read in the book was it left her. He left her. Like, that's what it said. So I almost wonder, from her perspective, after thinking about everything, she realized that he left her in the relationship. Like, he wasn't attentive. He kind of left her emotionally. And I wonder if that was like her acceptance to be like, okay, I'm done. I can leave this house and I can move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I were to get to like the emotionally impactful, there's a few scenes. I guess one I'll bring up that maybe be a bit different. When the house gets destroyed, and then it's just this huge building. It wasn't even finished, I don't think, right? It's just kind of a reflection on the passage of time. And I mean, I'm in an apartment building right now where it was nothing here, I don't think, or maybe in the 1800s some settlers lived here. I'm not even sure about the history, but maybe this was someone's home at one point, and that just gets forgotten about. So something to think about with the homes I've lived in. I lived in my, I guess, childhood home from the age of 7 till I moved out since I got married. Like, one day that will get torn down and just kind of forgotten about, and no one knows anything about the history of what's gone on in there and the types of moments that have been had. And maybe one day my family will move out of that home too, and it'll already be forgotten, So, it's just something to think about, And I think I do appreciate that about the movie. And so it is touching a bit, like, damn, like, things really do just move on, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I like that. The settlers getting freaking speared. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Those things you're talking about, Daniel, kind of reminded me of some thoughts that I had as well too. Just literally thinking about, where the land that I'm living now, like how that was 200, 300, 400 years ago, and the life that has happened within this area as time passes. And yeah, I gotta agree that scene with the music, one of my favorites as well. The music, the quality, the crispness, the loudness. It feels like you're wearing headphones, and it kind of made me feel as well too, like this song reminded her of him. And it paralleled that nicely. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, the scene where she's laying on the ground and she's reaching out and she doesn't know he's there, but he's right there, with that connection with the music. Yeah, like I was saying before in the beginning, I really liked the visual storytelling of this movie was really impressive to me. And just, I think a combination of the scenes within the house with the different lives that were lived and the different families that lived there, and the contrast with the color grading of people being happy and sharing love and laughing, being more of a warm kind of vibe versus a cool, more cold tone when it was, the girl living there by herself, depressed, sad. And specifically kind of when that guy was giving his monologue, I like the contrast of his monologue and kind of how cynical it was, but also within the same room, he's talking about how life's pointless, but yet you have people talking, laughing, enjoying each other's company. It almost makes it feel like, not that's the point of life, but like that's what we're here for. We're here to have, human social interaction with each other and to live with one another. So I kind of liked that contrast and just the way it made me feel about, this life, I guess.
Excellent. All right, Jaleesa just came home, so you guys continue talking.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I've loved this conversation. I think this film has definitely, I don't know, sparked some very existential questions.
Yeah.
So I do like a film that can inspire that sort of discussion.
Cool.
But
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, is that everything, Dre?
Yeah.
I think that's everything, eh? Okay. I agree. That was a good talk, fellas. I agree. I think this movie was really good. Definitely love a movie, that promotes those questions, those thoughts, and it just leaves you thinking about it for the next couple of days and stewing on it. But I guess before we kind of wrap things up here, I guess we can move on to next week's episode. I believe it's my pick. Is that correct? I think so, right?
Yeah, we've kind of lost track, but I think so.
I think you did Obsession last. So I wasn't sure at first, but then it became pretty clear that this is going to be the movie for this week. It lines up pretty well perfectly with the release of Steven Spielberg's new movie, Disclosure Day. So we will be reviewing Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Hey.
Excellent. Works well.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
A Spielberg film. You don't know what that is, Jay?
I have no idea.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's a classic. It's from 1977. It's one of Spielberg's early work with, it's an alien movie. So yeah, just some preparation for his new alien movie coming out, June 12th. Oh, I guess that's something fun I should share. So it's too bad that you weren't coming here next week, because that's when Disclosure Day is coming out, which is Spielberg's new film, alien film with Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor. And it's kind of about this day in present time of, learning about all the information that we have on aliens. But so it's going to be in the IMAX 70mm theater. And I got tickets to go see there. There's going to be a live Q&A with Steven Spielberg and Emily Blunt. So that's going to be cool.
Gosh,
It's
dang it,
literally
man.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I called Daniel and I texted him like, "Yo, you good to go to this?" And he's like, "Oh no, I can't. I go into a comedy show."
Yeah, I do have a prior commitment. Otherwise, of course, I would love to go. I'd love to be in the presence of Emily Blunt and Steven Spielberg. And I mean, Steven, that's a presence that you'll feel in the room.
Well,
right?
I won't actually be there. I called and it's gonna be pre-recorded.
Oh,
But still, whatever.
okay, that's different. I thought they were gonna be there, and I'm like, that's crazy. And Vaughn,
Yeah, I know, right? That would have been awesome, but yeah, but it should be fun still. Looking forward to it.
hmm for sure. I've never watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's just one of those movies that I've always heard about,
Yeah,
so I look forward to it.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I haven't seen it too. I've had it on my watch list. I've heard so many good things about it. So yeah, looking forward to it as well. Could be fun.
Beauty. Well, I'll attempt a close out here. I really suck at these things, but thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate all the listenership. um, but yeah, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, an email, and yeah, listen to our next episode. See you later.
Awesome. We'll
See you later, guys. Oh,
Appreciate it.
before we go, I want you guys to comment. Let us know. Leading up to Spielberg's new Alien movie, do you guys like? What are your thoughts on aliens? Do you think they're here? They've come? Do you think that it's out to lunch? Like, are we the only species in this universe? Let us know. Curious to know what your thoughts are, kind of going into this next few weeks of sci-fi alien movie. So, yeah, let us know, guys, in
Good
the
question.
comments, and we'll love to talk about it on the next pod.
Great.
No.
Yeah, I'm watching an Alien right now with Mr. Wembenyama.
Right, I forgot that's the game one tonight. Okay,
Yeah, it's already 8:30, so
Yeah.
you're doing okay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See you.
See you guys.